Welcome back into Talking Fitchburg. Joining me this afternoon from Unified Newspaper, the Fitchburg Star in particular, it's Scott Gerard. Scott, how are you doing today?
I'm doing so well, and it is good to be back.
Yeah, I'm sorry we had to take a little hiatus. We kept seeing each other at meetings or events, and we're like, we got to get that going again, don't we? And here we are.
We finally did. So yeah, thanks to you for reaching out and getting this set up.
No, I know you guys are busy. We're all busy and shorthanded and everything else in between, right? So
Yep.
you got to go with it. But glad to have you back. And what we do is we're gonna try to have you on for a council recap. And then anything coming up in the paper as well. We like to preview those stories. So we did have a council meeting this past week on Tuesday, and Waylon Road shoulder talk kind of kicking things off.
Yeah, that dominated a lot of the discussion, and there was no decision officially made or anything like that on Tuesday night. It was just noticed for discussion. But what Alders indicated was they were willing to look again at a decision they made during the budget process last year. So last year during the budget process, there was an estimate of about $600,000 that it would cost to add shoulders, paved shoulders, to the plan for resurfacing on Waylon Road, which, the road itself has a lot of cracks and issues, so it's a pretty significant improvement that's needed. But the question was whether to add shoulders for bikers. Alder Tony Hartman has really pushed for it. He's a big biker himself. And there's many other people in the community who have come forward and said, yes, let's do this. But back in the budget process, they decided it was a 4-4 vote whether to add those shoulders, and Mayor Jason Gonzalez broke the tie with a no vote, deciding that $600,000 was just a bit too expensive with other road projects and kind of tight budget and the borrowing that would have been necessary. But a new estimate from interim public works director Bill Balke shows that price being more like 150,000 potentially.
Mm-hmm.
And so with that new estimate, alders are interested in reconsidering the possibility of adding the shoulders, because there's some efficiencies that are added when you do the projects together. They're already having crews out there laying the road surface and everything. Whereas if they wait until later and add the shoulders at another time, Tony Hartman pointed to a project on Irish Lane where shoulders were retrofitted, and there's already some cracks showing, and so there's certain advantages long term to having the shoulders there. The question would be, where does the 150,000 come from? Because they didn't budget for it at all. So that was kind of where the discussion went, and what Alders indicated to staff was just, hey, could you give us our options here? Do a little more digging, get the price more exact. Bill Balke made it clear that it was a big picture estimate, was the 150,000. He wasn't saying that was a finely tuned here's every bit of where that cost comes from, but he was pretty confident it would be around there. So alders are just hoping to get a bit more information on that, and then see what other projects they could delay or take that 150,000 from to fund that resurfacing. So that discussion will be coming up again over the next couple months for sure. And it'll be an interesting one. A lot of bikers in the community, obviously, so a lot of people interested in that.
Right. And another area too brought in Sprezo is the McGaw Park plan as well.
Yes, indeed, and that's been bringing residents for 3 or 4 meetings straight now. There's a big park plan, and it's actually the centerpiece front page story on our paper this month, so some more detail can be found in there. But basically, some residents concerned about a plan for McGaw Park that had been proposed. The council a few weeks back voted to approve just part of that plan, but it seems that people are still wanting to make sure their voices are heard on the other parts of that plan, both in support of it and against it. Alders discussed it briefly during the Parks Commission report, and made it clear that, hey, we're not reconsidering the areas we chose not to approve right now. So for anyone who has looked at the plan, areas 2, 3, and 4, they have directed staff to work with the Parks Commission and work with neighbors and residents to reevaluate those over the next couple years. But they did want to make clear no decision is coming up or being expected to be reconsidered on those areas anytime soon.
Gotcha. Well, I appreciate the updates on that. What stories you guys been working on in the paper recently?
Yeah, so like I said, we've got the McGaw Park story, and then the other thing on the front page is an update about the Memory Cafe, which actually the first one is today over at the Senior Center. And that's just a place for people with Alzheimer's or dementia, or caregivers of people with Alzheimer's and dementia, just to come together, enjoy time together. There's discussion. There's a lot of them in the area. They're growing in popularity around the state. And I know a lot of them usually kind of try to come up with their own identity thing at the end. So some places always tell a joke at the end. Some always ask a certain question at the end, things like that. So it'll be cool to see how Fitchburg's community develops there.
Yeah.
Looking forward to that.
Yeah, it's definitely a great program, and hopefully it draws in a good group. And yeah, we'll look forward to reading that and much, much more. Scott, I really appreciate you taking the time, as always, and looking forward again to working with you here in the future.
Absolutely. Thanks for having me, and it'll be nice to check in every couple weeks with you guys.
Fantastic. We got to get you in our new studio here as well. We got a new space
Absolutely.
for you, so we got to see you in person once in a while.
All right. We'll see what we can do next time, yeah.
All right, Scott. Thank you so much for the time.
Yep. Have a good one.
All right. We'll take a break. Be right back. You are watching Talking Fitchburg.